Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Last Girl Awards, hosted by Apne Aap, an incredible organization where no child is bought or sold. I'm Sway Bhatia, as she mentioned, your master of ceremonies for this momentous occasion, and I could not be more honored to be in front of you tonight. Now, you may know me from the stage, from my music, or your TV screen, but tonight, I'm here for something incredible and very close to my heart, which is the fight against sex trafficking. Now, when I read I Kick and I Fly by the incredible Ruchira Gupta, who's with us here tonight, please give her a round of applause. I was truly deeply inspired. I mean, the story of Hira, a 14-year-old girl who, grew up in Forbesganj, India, who resists being sold into a sex trade. I mean, it really struck a chord with me, in the way she uses kung fu to fight against people. I mean, it's truly one of the most inspiring stories I've ever read. And as a 15-year-old woman, soon to be 16, the mission of Apne Aap resonates with me at a core level. And it reminds us that the injustices of sex trafficking are not confined to any age group, any nationality, or any community. So they are all issues that impact us all, and we have the power to bring change. The work done by Apne Aap is remarkable, to say the least, from educating thousands of girls from red light areas to aiding women in building sustainable livelihoods. They're making incredible strides. So the organization has this amazing 10-asset model, which includes empowering girls and women to build self-confidence. And I Kick and I Fly embodies this principle as Hira learns the power of her own body through the practice of kung fu. Tonight is not just any other award ceremony. It's a celebration of resistance, resilience, reclamation of our bodies and our lives. And the theme of this evening, I Kick and I Fly, the power of the body, I think it really encapsulates the essence of what we're all working towards, which is empowerment and liberation. So stay tuned, because we're about to announce our honorees and bring them up on stage, so you'll get to hear firsthand about their incredible journeys, what they've overcome, and what they're doing to make this world a better place for girls and women. So thank you for being part of this incredible and transformative night. Together, let's kick and fly towards a better place for girls and women, and a future free from sex trafficking. So before we go on, let's watch this compelling video showcasing the impact Apne Aap has had, girl by girl, in combating sex trafficking and uplifting communities in India.
मेरा नाम है गौरी कुमारी। मैं 5 क्लास में पढ़ती हूँ। पिछले साल से मैं कराटा सीख रही हूँ। कराटा सीख के मुझे आत्मविश्वास बढ़ता है और निडर महसूस होता है। मेरा नाम है रिया कुमारी। पहले हम स्कूल जाते थे तो अकेले डर लगता था। अब 2 साल से कराटे सीख रही हूँ तो निडर महसूस होता है। अब हम अकेले बाजार से सामान ले आते हैं।
I hope that video stirred your hearts as much as it did mine. I mean, the real life stories of courage, resilience, and transformation are truly all why we're here tonight. So now it is my profound honor to introduce someone whose life and work personify those very ideals. Ruchira Gupta, please give her a round of applause. She is not just an Emmy-winning journalist, she's a game changer in the world of advocacy, and Ruchira unearthed the haunting stories of missing girls in villages and transformed that into a groundbreaking documentary that helped shape anti-trafficking laws globally. But the story doesn't end there. She founded Apne Aap, an organization that empowered thousands of women to step up out of the shadows of exploitation. She's also the creative mind behind the incredible novel I Kick and I Fly, a story that is born from her own experiences in activism. She's received some of the highest honors out there, like the French Ordre National du Mérite and the Clinton Global Citizen Award. And while she's doing all this incredible work, I don't know how she finds time, but she finds time to teach at NYU and visit her childhood home in Forbesganj, India, where the NGO Apne Aap is headquartered. So please join me in giving a warm introduction and applause as we welcome Ruchira Gupta to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Namaste. It's such a pleasure to have you all in the room, my beloved friends and allies. As I stand here tonight, I feel like we are all part of a rare and precious tapestry, each thread woven with love, dignity, and a quest for justice. If you're in this room, you're already part of an extraordinary community, a community centered around justice, dignity, and above all, love. You may know me as the founder of Apne Aap and the author of I Kick and I Fly, but what truly defines this movement are the untold stories of resilience and triumph that emerge every day from the work you do and the work that Apne Aap does. That's what tonight's theme, The Power of the Body, encapsulates. It's a tapestry of narratives woven from true stories of young girls and women who, despite all odds, have stood tall and soared. This gathering we call the Last Girl Awards because we give out these awards with a name and their purpose. We are here to honor those who have stood shoulder to shoulder with her, seen her, lifted her, and amplified her voice. The Last Girl is more than a tagline. It's a deeply meaningful philosophy. It signifies the girl or woman who is the most marginalized, often the last to be considered and the first to be harmed. These awards tonight honor individuals who have made it their life's work to stand by the last girl, to make sure she is overlooked no more, to amplify her voice and to champion her dignity. Now to Catherine, Melissa, Anne, Rana, Mikola, you're not just honorees, you are luminaries in the landscape of human compassion. Each of you serves as a beacon, showing us how action can rise from empathy, how love can turn into liberation. Your lives serve as lights, guiding us through the profound darkness of indifference. Your work provides that empathy and action, proves that empathy and action can coexist beautifully. A big shout out to our host, Sway Bhatia, and to our phenomenal presenters, Mona, Neha, Rachel, Casey, and Malan. Your very presence tonight gives wings to the urgency and importance of our cause. Why are we all here? Because lifting up the extraordinary work of those we honor tonight is an essential part of our collective journey. It's not a finale, but rather a milestone, a moment to catch our breaths and say, what more can I do for the last girl? My friends, Apne Aap was born out of a desire to do more than just help. It emerged to challenge narratives, to recalibrate justice, and to destroy the obstacles that keep these young women and girls from being who they are meant to be. So as the night unfolds, I invite you all to engage. Let me extend a colossal thank you to the Asia Society, Rachel Cooper, Diya Srinivasan, Neelam Chaudhary, and my own wonderful team at Apne Aap, Kristen, Ram, Sanvi, Mrinalini, Taylor, Penny, Fatumata, and Sarina. And to my dazzling host committee, including Gloria Steiner, Ashley Judd, Rosanna, Sybil, Jong-hoon, Farhad, and the Toscanos. Your faith fuels us. Thank you for standing with us tonight here, not just with me, but with the last girl, with Apne Aap, and with every soul that believes in a world where no girl should be bought or sold. Let's ensure this is an evening that not only warms our hearts, but also reignites our commitment to the cause. Here's to an unforgettable night. Thank you, everyone, for being here and being part of our movement. Namaste.
What an inspiring speech. Please give another round of applause for Ruchira. Okay, let's keep this momentum going as we recognize those who have made extraordinary contributions to the mission that Ruchira has so passionately articulated. So now let's pivot this inspiration to action. Let's shine the spotlight on some remarkable individuals who truly embody the spirit of I Kick and I Fly and Apne Aap's unyielding mission to build a world where no child is bought or sold. Tonight's theme, I Kick and I Fly, the Power of the Body, is a celebration of our boundless human potential to enact change, much like the fearless characters in the transformative novel, I Kick and I Fly. So are we ready to meet some real-life heroes? Let's shift the spotlight to some incredible real-life change makers. Each presenter and honoree here tonight seems to amplify the urgency and the beauty of the work we all are here to celebrate. It's hard to believe it can get any more impressive, but it does. Our next presenter is a strong advocate in the global fight for gender equality. Meet S. Mona Sinha, the Global Executive Director of Equality Now. For 25 years, Mona has used her business acumen to build, guide, and uplift organizations to create a gender-equal world. Please give her a round of applause. The Last Girl Changemaker Award. Catherine Wilson, the founder of Stop Trafficking US, broke free from her own shackles of sexual abuse and has since devoted her life to unshackling others. Her tireless advocacy was instrumental in the passage of a groundbreaking law in Maine law that decriminalizes the victims, targets the perpetrators, and offers a new beginning to survivors. Rachel, not Rachel, Mona, the stage is yours to introduce the living testament in resilience and transformation.
Thank you, everyone. It's such an honor to be here today with all of you. I was lucky enough to be one of the inaugural recipients of the Last Girl Award. Ruchira and I have known each other as middle schoolers growing up in Calcutta, India, and it's been a true honor to be part of Apne Aap, lead the board for many years, and now lead Equality Now, where we continue the work to end child sex trafficking around the world, inspired by the work of many of our partners, such as Apne Aap. This award is more than just a statue. It's a meaningful award because it reminds us of why we are here. It evokes a call to action to encourage us to continue this fight, because sadly, it's not going to end anytime soon unless we all galvanize everything we have to make sure that no child is ever bought or sold. On to Catherine Ann Wilson. Catherine, it is my honor to present you with this award, and I welcome you on stage to receive it. Catherine is the founder and executive director of Stop Trafficking Us. She embodies the spirit of the award because she herself has spent a decade fighting for survivors from the experience that she sadly had to face herself. What sets her apart is her lived experience, that she brings knowledge firsthand from the point of view of a survivor, and she educates first responders as well as provides hope to women who find themselves in these situations. Her courage and fortitude are really remarkable and is a solution to survivors of Maine. Apne Aap proudly salutes you, Catherine, and I'm so honored to present you with the Last Girl Award.
And it's because of all of you guys that children this year are going to have an amazing Christmas.
Hi. I am deeply honored to be here. Thank you. I stand as a beacon of hope for too many children who've been abused, beaten, raped, abandoned, and sold by the very souls that were entrusted to care for them. Although I have seen and physically endured the worst, very worst of humanity, I believe in the good of the majority of our global tribe of human beings. In 2014, I was in my late 40s, volunteering at a local jail for children. All the girls in my girls' group had been sexually exploited, and I wondered how this could still be happening some 35 years later. I wondered what was missing in our communities that would allow this to happen. It must be some sort of profound ignorance. What could be done? Effective mass education. I think there's 1.7 million people in the state of Maine, and somehow I was going to get in front of all of them and educate them. I made up that if we weren't all united in the care and protection of children, the elderly, animals, and our planet, then there needs to be a proper wake-up call. I had not fully realized that my experience could make a considerable difference until I was working in the jail volunteering. That impact that I had on those girls made me realize that I could do something, I could help. So I began my journey to educate as many people as possible. I would bring a bridge of proper education to my community. I would learn what groups needed to be educated, first, second, third. Who are the highest and best trainers in the country that I could bring to educate these folks? How much do they cost? I would fundraise those funds. I'd pay for the education in full. I would record it so I could increase the reach, and I would offer it to all participants free of charge, always. To date, through my combined social media accounts and the various YouTubes and conferences, we reach about 76,000 people a month. One of our 3-day virtual trainings for teachers, social workers, and law enforcement had 679 participants, 100% of all prosecuting attorneys for the state of Maine. It was the first time there was cross-training in the state of Maine. In our in-person conference on technology last fall for students, teachers, and staff, we recorded that. It is now mandatory for all Catholic schools across the state of Maine and is on the Maine School Safety Center. We were given an MPV award from the New England Patriots Myra Craft Award, which gave us $10,000. That paid for 1/3 of that last fall's technology conference that we did. I was also invited to speak at the White House with a group of faith leaders across the nation in 2019. They wanted to know my opinion. That was a thrill. I also received a citation of honor from the Kings County, Brooklyn, New York, a human trafficking task force. We have an in-person training next month for law enforcement, Homeland Security. We've got about 200 people registered for that in-person training on vicarious trauma. How can we help those who are out there protecting our children to keep them in their jobs, keeping them personally safe and their unit safe? We have a virtual training for faith leaders this November. We have an in-person. We're expecting thousands of people for that. Faith leaders need to be educated as well in May. So I am bridging various programs to our schools. And actually, next month, we're doing a training for bus drivers. This is just to name a few of the things that we've done since 2015. Now tonight, I like to end by telling a starfish story. So when I first started my work in 2015, what I recognized in the groups that I was speaking to is people felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of the child sexual abuse, exploitation, and prostitution of children. They just felt like there was too much and it couldn't be done. So there's the starfish story in Maine that's told that a little girl was visiting her grandmother, and after a full moon and the astronomical high tide, the beach was covered with starfish, little tiny ones that could fit on her pinky, and some were as big as her hand. And one by one, this little girl, I imagine her like Pippi Longstocking, would pick up a starfish and throw it back into the water. So the story is told that a cranky beach walker came by and said, "Little girl, go home. There's just too much here. It's a mess. Wait for the high tide to come and wash it away. It's just too much. There's nothing you can do." The little girl said nothing, but looked down, picked up a starfish, threw it back into the water, and defiantly looked at him and said, "It matters to that one." So that became sort of my brand, the starfish story. And I wear that starfish, and I also brought one for Ruchira. So she can get that. So standing here right now is an amazing thrill for me because Ruchira, I see her as the godmother of this movement. I've been following her since I met her in 2014. It is one of the greatest honors for me. That's why I had to write it, not just try to memorize it because I was so nervous. I didn't want to mess it up. So thank you very much. This is one of the highlights of my life and the work that I do. I am profoundly honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. That was truly incredibly moving. So thank you for being here. Wow. Okay. We have to, I mean, the night is young, so we have more heroes to recognize, and each of them teaching us how to use our bodies and minds for a greater good. Ladies and gentlemen, the energy in this room is truly incredible, so let's keep that going. And our next presenter is someone who knows all about using the power of media for social change. So please help me in welcoming Casey Jennings, a veteran journalist and an advocate for girls' education. She's the founder of Girl Rising and has made it her mission to uplift girls worldwide through education. Please give her a round of applause. Our next honoree and winner of the Last Girl Championship Award, we're talking about an Academy Award winner, a social change maker, a teacher, and the woman behind the PAD Project. So please welcome Melissa Burton.
Good evening. I'm truly honored to have been invited here tonight to present the Last Girl Champion Award. I'm always blown away year after year when I've been in your midst by the people that you pull together. It's truly humbling to be amidst all of you here today, and certainly among or in the same room as the award winners. Melissa Burton, who is tonight's honoree, is an Academy Award-winning producer, as you've heard, and that's impressive. But maybe more impressive to me is that she's a dedicated and passionate teacher. And as a dedicated and passionate and committed teacher, she inspired her students to produce an extraordinary short film called Period, End of Sentence, which won numerous awards, including the Oscar for Best Documentary Short. And maybe even more importantly, it sparked a global and necessary conversation about menstrual health. And if you all haven't seen it, I strongly encourage you to watch it. It's about half an hour long. It's beautifully made and very powerful. Melissa also co-founded the PAD Project. Its pointed mantra, a period should end a sentence, not a girl's education. Something that seems so obvious, but sadly, that's not the case for millions of girls across the globe whose schooling comes to an abrupt end at adolescence. Melissa's advocacy has shifted perspectives and empowered girls worldwide, and she is truly a force for change. Well, Melissa has dedicated more than a decade teaching English at Oakwood Secondary School in Los Angeles. As you can see, her work as an educator extends far beyond the classroom walls. As faculty advisor for Girls Learn International, she has led the largest student delegation from a single high school to the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, not once, but 3 times. Melissa is a recipient of the Feminist Majority Foundation's Eleanor Roosevelt Global Women's Rights Award, and she is a Forbes 50 over 50 honoree. Her work touches lives, it creates dialogues that turn to action, and she has proven that awareness and advocacy go hand in hand, and together they are a most powerful force. So please join me in celebrating a true champion for girls and women, Melissa Burton.
I didn't know this was going to be here. This is okay. Wow, thank you for that beautiful introduction. I am so honored and overwhelmed to be here. Ruchira is a hero of mine, as she is for so many, and so many of you who I'm meeting for the first time but have admired from afar, making the last girl, the first girl, are my heroes. So really, it's humbling and an honor to be here. I think the last girl is going to outshine the Oscar. That's what I think. And if you saw as those pictures were passing by, the students were up with me on that Oscar stage, and they really inspire me. And I am a teacher, so forgive me, because we'll do a little teaching tonight. I'm an English teacher, so I like words. And I think that a word whose meaning is experienced by half the population is a word that not many of us know the definition of. And that word, including me, by the way, before I started this work, and that work is menarche. It's spelled M-E-N-A-R-C-H-E, menarche. And it means simply the onset of menstruation. And the onset of menstruation is occurring earlier and earlier for girls all over the world, girls as old as 9 years old. And so I just want to say, here's what menarche does. Now we all know what menarche means. We're good with that. But here's what menarche does not mean. Menarche does not mean I am available to be sex trafficked. It does not mean I am ready to be married or sold off into marriage by somebody who may be much older than I am. It does not mean I am ready to bear a child myself. It really does not mean I want to give up my dreams and my education and everything that I can stand up to do. What menarche does mean, I think, is that, and it kind of sounds like menarche, I was thinking today, sounds like monarch, the butterfly. And like butterflies, I think that what menarche can mean and should mean is, yes, I can give life, but that my life is valuable, and that as Ruchira is teaching all of us through her beautiful book, as I grow and as I transform, I am strong, I am beautiful, like the butterfly, I can kick and I can fly. It's such a pleasure and honor to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Melissa, for your words of wisdom. That is really incredible. Now we're going to actually introduce Rachel Foster, our third Last Girl Changemaker Award presenter, has fought against social injustices for over 35 years, and she's co-founded World Without Exploitation and is involved in social impact, real estate development, providing shelters for survivors for abuse and homelessness. Rachel steps up tonight to introduce our third honoree, whose courage is awe-inspiring. Not Catherine Wilson. Okay. Anne Ream, a visionary who understands the transformational power of storytelling. She's the founder of the Voices and Faces Project with the mission to make the unseen seen and the unheard heard.
Today, I have the privilege of representing APNIAP in presenting the Last Girl Cultural Change Award to an exceptional woman and my dear friend, Anne Ream. Anne Ream is a co-founder of World Without Exploitation. It's her brilliance and creativity that helped us to launch this 200-member organization effort to combat commercial sexual exploitation. Anne is creative, she's compassionate, fierce, and innovative. She thinks critically and always lifts others up and forges deep connections. Wherever she goes, she creates community, and those communities are filled with music, laughter, literature, and always deep conversation. Anne has spent almost 3 decades creating spaces where survivors of gender-based violence can be heard and honored. She's a pioneer, creating first-of-its-kind organizations and programs with tremendous life-changing impact. Her groundbreaking book, Live Through This, and the transformative initiative, the Voices and Faces Project, are testaments to her dedication. Anne has taken the act of listening and supporting others in telling their own stories and elevated into a form of radical advocacy. Her work reverberates in the halls of social justice and social change, inspiring and affecting all of us who strive for a better, more just world. Anne, your guiding belief in an injustice that goes unseen is an injustice that goes unchallenged, is a credo we can all live by. On behalf of APNIAP, we're proud to recognize your tireless efforts, your commitment, and your contribution to social justice movements. Please join me in honoring the phenomenal Anne Ream with the Last Girl Cultural Change Award.
We're part of a movement to create lasting political change. And we're going to help people think about how they use their story to do that. What aspect of my story do I want to tell? How do I tell it? How do you get them to not just feel, but act? All of the work we do in the writing workshop is about balancing truth and hope. People are not doing this because it's healing. They're doing it because it's necessary. Because there's a world that does not understand these issues that the writers coming through our program have lived through.
Thank you. And thank you, Rachel. It's so beautiful when someone you dearly love introduces you with so much love. So thank you. I wanted to start by acknowledging my fellow honorees because, we talk a lot at the Voices and Faces Project about change not being a solo, that it's a chorus. And you are part of a chorus of beautiful voices, and knowing that you're out there in the world doing what you're doing, it's not only humbling. As I was reading and learning about you, it makes me hopeful. And I'm grateful for that, so thank you. The Voices and Faces Project, one of the reasons when Ruchira reached out to me about the Last Girl Award, that it was so moving for me, is that everything we do at the Voices and Faces Project really is about the last person. The person the world wants to disappear, the person the world doesn't want to hear from, the person who has an extraordinary and powerful story that we need to encounter, and not just to feel it when we encounter, but be compelled to act. We've brought our two-day writing program, and the co-creator of our program, Clifton Spargo, is here tonight with me and has been an extraordinary force and is really the heart and soul of this project. And when he and I first came together to bring this into the world, I don't think we quite recognized that the hunger people had, not only for sharing their story. We know we're in a moment where people talk a lot about the power and purpose of story, but for thinking strategically and critically about what story I want to tell, how I want to tell it, how a story that's personal can call the world to political change. And I remember when we first began this program, having someone say to us, this must be incredibly healing for the writers who come through. And I thought about that for a long time. And in some ways, of course, being heard is healing, but they are not doing this because it's healing. They and we, and that we is important for me to add because I'm a survivor of sexual violence myself. And this program for me has been learning how to be within my own experience from this beautiful global community of survivors. They're giving their stories and using their stories as a gift for us, a gift that is demanding that we change things. Everyone in this room, I assume, is here because of a story. Probably more stories than one. Someone you heard from who moved you, who made you think differently about an issue, who demanded you do something. And that's why we created this program, to create a space for people to reflect on the story that they wanted to share and the way they could do it that could call the world to action. I wanted to close by nodding to the really beautiful through line between Apne and the Voices and Face Project, which is that both of these organizations started with stories, with individuals coming forward and saying, I have lived through this and it shaped me, but I refuse to have it define me. And I want you to know, Ruchira, how deeply grateful I've always been in this movement for your example and your generosity and your kindness and your modeling for me of what it means to look and hear stories and say that you will do everything possible to support the storytellers in bringing their stories into the world. So thank you for that. And thank you all. I'm very, very grateful for this award.
Amazing. I hope you're all as inspired as I am because I truly have been moved so much, and we have more to come. Our next presenter is an advisory board member of Apne Aap, someone who's as at home in the world of branding as she is in the sphere of social injustice. Please give a warm welcome to Neha Vashi, Global Senior Brand Manager of Vaseline Unilever and a key player in its innovation and brand development. Our next honoree embodies the definition of a powerhouse. We honor her with the Last Girl Community Leadership Award. So meet Rana Abdelhamid, known as the Muslim Black Belt, a title that only hints at her multidimensional approach to advocacy. She's the founder and executive director of Malika, an organization that teaches self-defense to women in Queens. She truly embodies the theme of this evening, I Kick and I Fly, just like Hira, the young girl in Ruchira's debut novel, I Kick and I Fly, who broke free from the clutches of oppression. Rana has empowered countless women to discover their own strength and autonomy. So please give a round of applause to both of these incredible women.
Hi, everyone. I'm Neha Vashi, and it's my immense privilege to present the Last Girl Community Leadership Award on behalf of Apne Aap. I've known Ruchira for many years now, and every year she inspires me and my husband Neil to do more, help more, learn more, educate ourselves. Saving young girls is more important than anything else. And as a mom of 2 young kids, I cannot imagine how and why this is still happening. So we need people like Ruchira and to be there for all our children so they can have a safe, a kind, and a healthy future. Apne Aap is an organization deeply committed to empowering the last girl. We understand the value of grassroots activism and extraordinary impact of community leaders. Today, we celebrate an exceptional leader, Rana Abdul Hamid, founder and executive director of Malika. Rana's work resonates deeply with Apne Aap's core values and mission. Malika is a groundbreaking grassroots initiative that promotes safety and power for women through self-defense, healing justice, and community organizing. It's an echo of what Apne Aap has been doing in the red light areas in India, where we have trained girls in karate and kung fu as means of self-empowerment. This brings to mind our founder, Ruchira Gupta's book, I Kick and I Fly, which explores similar themes of bodily autonomy and empowerment. Tonight's theme, The Power of the Body, encapsulates this shared vision, and we see it manifest in Rana's work, particularly in her self-defense initiatives among women in Queens. The body, as both Rana and Apne Aap show, is not merely a physical entity, but a symbol of resistance, autonomy, and identity. You are transforming the world, making it a safer, more equitable place, one woman and one community at a time. Therefore, it is with great honor and admiration that we present you Rana Abdul Hamid with this year's Last Girl Community Leadership Award. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. I also didn't know that this video was playing, and I'm like, these photos are so much nostalgia and such a throwback. So my name is Rana Abdul Hamid, and I also just wanted to say I'm deeply grateful to be here tonight for all of the incredible work of Ruchira and the rest of the team, to be honored with such incredible global change makers. The work that you all are doing is deeply inspiring, and sometimes, as you all know, when you're doing this work, it could feel kind of hard, like you're up against some of the biggest challenges in the world, and it just gives me the motivation to keep going when I know that there are other people doing similar work around the globe and in different parts of the US. So thank you so much for your work. So I'll just talk a little bit about my story and just wanted to shout that my mom and my dad are in the audience. And so I feel there's like the most pressure you could ever imagine, right? To be able to talk in your city, but also to speak in front of 2 people who have changed my life so profoundly, and I've seen sacrifice so much for me to be able to be here today to accept an honor like this. And also so many members of my community are here who are part of Malika, including my sister and my husband, who is an honorary Malika member, of course. So I just wanted to shout that. So I started Malika actually as a young woman growing up in Queens in a post 9/11 New York City. I grew up in a really beautiful neighborhood. I invite you all to come to Queens. You're here, you might as well. That is nicknamed Little Egypt. It is a working class community. It is an immigrant community. I think that's important to say, especially in this moment in New York, where we're seeing a rising number of asylum seekers coming to New York City, and the response that we're seeing as well, that's quite negative. And I grew up in a community that was deeply loving and that made me feel proud to be a young Muslim woman of color, to be a child of working class immigrants. And at the same time, of course, as a young girl, as a small girl growing up during that time, I unfortunately experienced a lot of bullying, which my family was like, no, you're not gonna take this, we're gonna put you in a karate class. And so that's how I started my journey with karate as a martial artist. artist. I have a black belt in Shotokan karate today. And that's because my parents really stuck through it and really thought and believed that it was important. I started my journey with Melika as a survivor of a hate-based attack. One day when I was walking down the street in Queens, I was assaulted by a man who tried to take off my hijab. And most people don't know that hate-based violence is actually gendered violence, because the majority of people, even with the increase of anti-Asian violence in the United States, the majority of people who experience hate-based violence are typically women. And so our work intersects at both hate-based violence and gender violence. We have a beautiful space in Queens that is my second home, where we do our programming in self-defense, in healing, in organizing, and financial literacy, because we understand that to address violence impacting our communities, it is not a one-size-fits-all, it is a multifaceted issue. And I feel like it is so important to recognize that tomorrow is actually the beginning of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which I'm sure your team is very well aware of. And it always is so heartbreaking to me when we get domestic violence survivors at our office, when I remember or read about the realities of the statistics still today. And one of the statistics that drives my work is that still 1 in 3 people will experience gendered violence in their lifetime. And it's wild to think, right, of how massive this challenge is. But through our model at Melika, through our partnerships, working with New York City Public Schools, working with community-based organizations across the globe, we have been able to train thousands of young women and girls across various ages from 8 years old to 70 years old, how they could step into the power of their body and how they could heal from trauma of various forms of violence. And I'm excited to continue to do this work with the women who are in the audience and my husband as the honorary Melika, to continue to fight for this world that we vision every single day. And I'll leave you with just one thing that we say at Melika. We always try to imagine a different world. We have this vision question that we ask, which is, what would the world look like, sound like, taste like, feel like if we're all safe and we're all in our power? And every single day we wake up as a team. I wake up as Rana Abdelhamid, and that is the world that I'm fighting for. And I feel grateful to you all to being part of that vision of creating that world as well. So thank you so much, and just feeling a lot of honor to be here with you all tonight.
Thank you. Such inspiring stories. Our final presenter tonight couldn't be here in person because she's out in the field embodying the very essence of tonight's theme. I'm talking about Ambassador Melaine Verveer, Executive Director of the Georgetown Institute for Women, Peace, and Security. She's a force to be reckoned with, having served as the first U.S. Ambassador for Global Women Issues. She's also served as a special representative on gender issues for the OSCE chairperson in office, chair and co-CEO of Vital Voices Global Partnership, and assistant to the president and chief of staff for the First Lady in the Clinton administration. Wow, that is a lot of stuff. She is presenting the Last Girl Lifetime Leadership Award to Mykola Kuleba. He is a hero who risks everything to bring children and families to safety in Ukraine. His organization, Save Ukraine, embodies the spirit of rescuing, restoring, and rebuilding lives. Let's give Mykola the welcome he deserves. He's here all the way from Kyiv in the middle of doing vital, life-saving work, so please give him a warm round of applause.
Добрий день! Здорово. Все, пішли за мною, за мною.
Дивися, хто в мене є. Ну що ти, узнаєш, так.
While we are waiting for the video to play, I'll just read what I feel about Mykola, because I'm going to present the award to you on behalf of Milan. Also, on behalf of Apne Aap, of course, it's such an extraordinary honor to present the Last Girl Lifetime Leadership Award to you, Mykola, founder of Save Ukraine. Your relentless efforts to rescue child victims of kidnapping and trafficking amid the ongoing conflict in Ukraine have not only saved lives, but have also illuminated the darkest corners where the last girl and last boy are often trapped. I know the struggles of combating trafficking in the red light districts of India, and I can only imagine the added dimension of difficulty in a conflict zone. Mykola, your work resonates deeply with our organization's core beliefs that every child deserves a life free from fear of exploitation. Your courage and commitment are beacons of hope, demonstrating that even in the most dire circumstances, humanity and compassion can prevail. It is individuals like you who show us that the fight against trafficking is indeed a universal struggle deserving of our collective attention and action. Congratulations, Mykola. Your indomitable spirit embodies the very essence of this award.
If ever anyone deserved to be recognized for his selfless and tireless leadership for good, it is Mykola Kuleba, the head of the charity Save Ukraine and the former presidential commissioner for children's rights, has been steadfast in saving the children of Ukraine. There have been many brutal acts perpetrated by the Russians on Ukraine, from targeting the Ukrainian people with missile strikes, contrary to humanitarian law, causing immense destruction and devastation, to working to erase Ukraine's very independence, democracy, and identity. One of the worst atrocities has been robbing Ukrainian families of their children. Mykola's mission and those who work with him has been to identify where the kidnapped children are and to have them return to Ukraine. Ukrainian children are being forcibly deported to Russia. There are also pervasive cases of sexual abuse against the children in the occupied territories, which also constitute war crimes. As he has told the world, the deported children are being brainwashed every day as Russia wants to Russify the Ukrainian children and destroy their Ukrainian identity. This is another aspect of Russia's madness in its full-scale assault on Ukraine. By any definition, this is a crime against humanity. It's genocide. And to that end, the International Criminal Court issued a war crimes arrest warrant for Putin relating to the forcible transfer and deportation of Ukrainian children. Save Children is also helping to evacuate people from some of the most dangerous places in the war zone and to provide humanitarian support. Awards are important because they put a spotlight on courageous actions, as this award is important. But more importantly, we must see this as a call to action. We should all support Save Ukraine in all the ways we can. Congratulations to all the other awardees. Thanks, Ruchira, for your leadership. And Mykola, Vitayu, Slava Ukraini.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Dear ladies, gentlemen, friends, Melissa, I need your lessons, English lessons, to speak better. Yeah. I have text in my phone, but I will tell you from my heart. We are living in the epicenter of war. And this is war against children and women. Especially my family is refugees all over the world. I have 4 kids. And my wife is traveling all the time. Come to me and to my children. And millions of Ukrainian children now are refugees. Many of them internally displaced. 60% of our population experienced displacement. It means they left their homes, friends, school children, school friends, relatives. More than 1 million men are fighting as a militaries now just to defend our country. many kids experience trauma, war trauma. Through the research of UNICEF, 75% children have some mental trauma through the war. Especially my kids, we are living in Kiev. When challenged, they going downstairs to the basements, to my bedroom, and they're really afraid of this. It is hard to imagine what they're experiencing, all kids. But my team now, because we are the biggest rescue network evacuating every day from combat zones, children, women, elderly people, but especially from occupied territories and from Russia who've been abducted. More than 1 million children live under the Russians now who've been kidnapped, abducted, who live on occupied territories or forcibly deported, with parents, without parents. Nobody knows how many unaccompanied children live there, how many in orphanages, how many lost their parents. For example, Mariupol, how many children been sexually abused, trafficked. It is a tragedy of my nation. I thank you. Thank you all, because I know many of you praying for us, helping us, standing with us. It is very encouraging when you're doing this. Just remember, don't hear politicians, hear your heart, because any child, your kids, needs a dignity, live in the with the dignity in this world, to be protected, just to dream about their future, not just to try to go to a basement. Thank you.
All the honorees exemplify the courage and dedication that we're here to celebrate tonight. From conducting dangerous rescue missions to providing critical humanitarian aid to giving voices to the voiceless. Our honorees are nothing short of extraordinary, so please join me in acknowledging their invaluable contribution to our world as we transition into this evening's panel discussion with these extraordinary people moderated by the one and only Ruchira.
So here we are, just having heard the most inspiring speeches that I, who travel all the time and meet activists and leaders and change makers, feel I haven't heard so much all together in one room in one evening. Thank you so much for who you are and what you do. I'm going to keep my questions very short, and because we have a song and a dance performance, I request all of you to also keep your answers very short so we can move with the evening. It's just taken longer, so that's why I'm trying to make the panel shorter than I'd planned. So my first question is to Catherine. Catherine, you know, I met you first in Portland, Maine, and you and another survivor leader, Dee Searle, took me to a children's jail, I think. And there I saw the work you were doing with young girls who were arrested for no fault of their own on crimes of soliciting while the perpetrators were outside. And since then, Maine has gone and changed the law. And now it has decriminalized victims of sex trafficking and punishes traffickers and sex buyers. It's the first state in America to do so, and you come from that state. I know you also work on providing shelter and support to young girls as a survivor yourself. How did you, give me one story that you remember which had a pivotal impact on you, shifting you from being a survivor to becoming a leader?
As a survivor, speaking with some of the girls who are in jail, I have nothing against, the social workers and the psychiatrists and everyone, the team that each child gets when they're incarcerated. But there's nothing like a survivor talking from your heart to their heart. For one story, being able to tell the girls, for instance, if you are dreaming about what had been done to you, and thinking about doing it to other children, that's okay. That will pass. It doesn't mean that you wanted what happened to you to happen. It doesn't mean that you were bad, that you wanted it, there's anything wrong with you. Dreaming about doing the same thing that was done to you to other children or other people is normal. That will pass in time. And this one girl said, I have been here since I was 12 years old. I have been in many therapy, and no one has ever told me this, the shame that I have lived with, the times that I have tried to kill myself over and over again, because I do have these dreams, and no one told me that it's okay, it's natural, and it will go away in time. So that is one single thing, and I have thousands of them.
Thank you. My next question is to Melissa. Melissa, you know your slogan that a period should not end a sentence, should end a sentence, not a girl's education, has inspired thousands, hundreds of thousands across the world to make sure we end period poverty and we end the shame around menstruation that so many girls are subjected to because of the society that they live in. Can you tell me, how does the PAD project bring this philosophy to life in any one story that you remember?
Sure, I'd be happy to. And I'm proud that the PAD project just reached the milestone where we've given distributed 1 million menstrual products around the world to people who need them, including very much so right here in the United States. And one thing is that many of our beneficiaries write to us about being they do sexual favors just for a pad or a tampon. So when you think about that, it's really incredible. One person who related directly to pursuing her education because she had access to supplies. Her name is Estada George. She lives in Sierra Leone in a village called Bumpé, and she was sitting for her exam. She was about 11th grade, the same age as our MC, I think, and she bled through her uniform. She was mortified, and she had to quit school. She didn't finish her exams. She did not graduate. Because of this, she began to be an advocate for menstrual health and education and started what's called our washable pad program. These are reusable pads that women sew and create a microeconomy. And through that, she was able to make money, advocate for her village, and now she's a doctor in her village. So really happy with her.
And you and I have often talked about the power of storytelling to inspire and to heal. What you have also done is turned it into action. Do you have any actionable suggestions for all the storytellers in this room today? What can they do to use the power of storytelling?
You know, sort of conversely, I'd say the most important thing you can do is listen. Because one of the things that I see in the writing program we run that's quite extraordinary is people coming in a room with stories that they have to tell and recognizing in the stories of others stories that they want to carry forward. And you've heard, I feel like I'm going to walk out of this room so inspired by the people I'm on the stage with and some of you that I've already talked to this evening. And stories really only have power when we carry them forward. And so we're storytellers, but I think we're also witnesses. And to the degree that you can see yourself as an active witness to injustice, someone who moves the story through the world, and demands when people hear the story that they do something, that they not just feel but act. That, for me, is the heart of stories that can create social change, and I think that's why we're all here.
Rana, you spoke about learning karate as a young girl and in a neighborhood where you were actually attacked yourself, and how the power of karate taught you that you had a self-worth defending. Can you talk about how martial arts really helped you become an activist?
I love martial arts, so I love this question. I think in so many ways, when I had first started Melika, I remember going out into my neighborhood and being like, I'm gonna teach self-defense. And unfortunately, some of my elders in the neighborhood were kind of like, nah, like, what are you even, like, there's like no way, this is weird, please keep a low profile, chill out. And I think that no, multiple times, when you see a challenge that you're hungry to try to create change around, really like cultivated my desire to keep going. And that is being an athlete, right? So much of athletics is, you know, knowing how to work on a team, knowing how to be competitive when you need to, knowing how to aspire even when things are hard, both physically and emotionally. And when you are an athlete, especially from a young age, I used to compete as well, you're taught so many of these skills that then are very transferable into movement space and into building an organization, that resilience. And so I feel like I am an organizer because I am an athlete and because I am a martial artist. And I highly encourage everybody to do martial arts because it is very inclusive of age and body type and background.
That's very inspiring. Mikola, you are working on behalf of women and children in an area where it's really dangerous. When did you realize that it's a risk worth taking? Why didn't you just stop and go to a neighboring country?
Thank you. I can tell you a lot of horrible stories and what children experience. And, you know, you've seen this video, what children feels, what they feel when they can meet again their relatives, their parents, mothers, fathers, brothers. Yeah, it's really hard to imagine what they are feeling being kidnapped there. I'll tell you one story. Just remember, one 12-year-old boy who been returned by us, and to his mother and grandmother, and we were talking together, and I asked him, what you were dreaming for? Just to return back, but how did you know that somebody will take you? He told, I believe. I told, what do you believe? That I planned to my escape. I planned. I planned how to run out of Russia to Ukraine, but only thing I did not know how to cross the minefields. 12-year-old boy was thinking how he crossed the minefields to meet their relatives, mother and friends. Yeah, it's horrible, but Ukrainian children are brave, and we believe they will survive, and we will come back. I'm not talking about territories, about children, about their lives, and about their future. Thank you.
So this is like a rapid fire thing. I just want each of you to say in one sentence how the community in this room and those who are watching online can help you in your mission. Catherine, you go first.
Access to people with children. That is the one thing we can do. In order for a child to be sexually abused, the offender needs access. So prevent access. If you want to know how, go to my website.
Recognize that menstruation is not a source of shame, but a source of strength. Never allow talk around periods to become shameful. Rather advocate for strength and power.
See stories as one of our great underutilized resources. And if you know of an activist or a writer who you think has a story that could be policy or world-changing, we'd love to have them take part in a writing workshop. So voicesandfaces.org.
Learn self-defense, but also change the systems that necessitate that we exist in a world that requires that we have to learn self-defense to begin with.
Don't stand apart, but be with your kids, be with that kids who's suffering, and be children's voice for that kids who really need your support. Thank you.
I have nothing more to say after what our panelists have said. They've said everything for all of us. So a big round of applause to them as we move on to the next stage.
Thank you so much. That was so amazing. And to think about how all of this comes together in the kind of integrity and wholeness of our bodies. I'm thinking about that in particular because we're about to see a dance performance, and dance really inhabits all of what we've been talking about. It's storytelling, it's power. The Kathak dance that you're going to see from Parul Shah tells a story. It's a history of unforgetting. And it has something specific, and yet it is really the theme of the night, the history of unforgetting. This particular piece draws inspiration from a 2,000-year-old tradition practiced by South Asian female temple artists and the dancers whose contributions are often forgotten or not recognized. But the power you will see in that body is very clear. Parul Shah explores the fragmented identities, displacement, and the resiliency. That's also one of the themes that we've been talking about tonight, the power and resiliency. And in many ways, I think it's dancing where it's the coming together of the body, the spirit, and the storytelling. So please join me in welcoming Parul Shah. History of Unforgetting.
So that was Parul Shah. Her work embodies the patriarchy that we challenge. Let's keep the applause going for the uplifting and inspiring dance performance by Parul Shah. The artistry and emotion she brought to the stage is exactly the spirit that fuels the work we do. Now, you might wonder how you can join this essential endeavor. Well, those QR codes you see around you on side the pamphlets are not just decorations, they are gateways. Scan them and you'll be directly helping us to transform initiatives that empower and educate women and girls. For those of you who want to delve deeper into the resilience and triumphs of these incredible young women, consider grabbing a copy of my book, I Kick and I Fly. It's packed with real stories from Apne Aap, like how one last girl mastered Kung Fu to rewrite her destiny. Trust me, it's not just a book, it's a revolution in paper and ink. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, cocktails and conversations. After we wrap up here, don't miss the chance to meet our extraordinary honorees, our presenters, and even maybe make a few new friends. When we gather, connect, and share, we are not just making memories, we are making history. So here's your call to action. Support Apne Aap, enrich your library with I Kick and I Fly, and let's all take a moment tonight to truly get to know each other and the causes close to our heart, embodied by all our extraordinary honorees. Remember, every step we take is a step closer to a world where the last girl is the first in line for a brighter, safer future. Let's make it happen together. Cheers. And I'll see you all at the cocktails very soon. But before that, we have one last chance to see our host, Sway, on stage. And she has a surprise.
Never heard or seen before. It's a song called I Kick and I Fly, written by yours truly. This is my first time performing this song live. We can cue the music while I talk because I have a long intro. Don't ask me why. This is, my first time performing an original, in fact. The first time I have an audience listening to this song. And it's really special. Thank you, Ruchia, for giving me the opportunity to write this incredible song. You've inspired it. You've inspired all of us. So thank you.
I kick and I fly with Kung Fu by my side. I won't let them take me, I won't let them hide. I kick and I fly with self-respect and pride. I'm stuck in the slums, fighting for crumbs. Yeah, I wanna be out, but I don't have the funds. I'm going to school just to get food. Keep picking on me, cause I ain't cool. And I just wanna fly, I'm stuck on the side. I don't wanna play, I'm just trying to hide. Just wanna be rescued, I'm through with abuse. I wish I was bruise proof from everything I've been through. You push me down, I lift me up. I used to be so scared, but now I kick and I fly with Kung Fu by my side. I won't let them take me, I won't let them hide. I kick and I fly with self-respect and pride. Trying to be bold, wanna take this road, but with nowhere to go. I'm waiting to be sold, ain't gonna tap out. I'm no longer shy, 'cause there's no way out. I'm gonna kick and fly.
You better not come near me, there's no telling what I might do. I kick your butt like Bruce Lee, 'cause I've been up on that Kung Fu. You can no longer abuse me, I hit him up with that 1-2. Keep it raw like sushi, you know when I come through.
I kick and I fly with Kung Fu by my side. I won't let them take me, I won't let them hide.
I kick and I fly. Now, if you know the words, sing along. With kung fu by my side, I won't let them take me, I won't let them hide. I kick and I fly with friends by my side.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being an incredible audience. This truly means so much to me. Thank you to all our honorees. You've all been so moving.